Actually fixing business credit. I just had to step off camera to turn my light on there for a minute. So hopefully you don't mind a little technical glitch. All right, so let's talk about the 8 proven steps to actually repair your business credit. Wow, I get a lot of questions on this one. And somebody usually comes to me and says, hey, if I have damaged business credit, how do I fix it? I'll tell you what really happens is that there's a lot of very established businesses. And then what happens is they go to get a credit line, they go to get a loan, or even worse, the credit line they have gets pulled. And they're trying, and the reason from the lender is that your business credit has issues. And people freak out and come to us and say, how do I fix my business credit? So today we're going to talk about, first of all, why you probably don't need to fix it even when you think you do. This could be a really quick, short training for you. And then the other side is if you actually do need to fix it, the 8 steps that you need to take to successfully fix your business credit to improve it so you're able to use it for all different kinds of things. So we got a lot to cover. By the end of this training, you're going to know the 8 steps to be able to repair business credit. So let's get going. Let's dive in. So obviously, you probably get the importance of business credit. I mean, business credit is as important to your business getting money as your consumer credit is for you getting money as a consumer. If your business credit is damaged or bad, then it affects your ability to get loans and credit lines, to get insurance policies, amongst many other things. So your business credit profiles aren't just used by lenders and credit issuers. They're used by a lot of different sources to make decisions about you. Let me give you an example. One of our clients, Christine, who's a trucker, came in and said that when she built her business credit, she got a lot more contracts because what she didn't realize at the time is the people that issue these trucking contracts were using business credit as a determining factor to decide who got the contracts. So just by actually coming in and making sure that she improved her business credit, then she was actually able to really, last time I talked to her, go from a 1 truck operation to a 50 truck operation because she's able to get a lot more contracts for her company. So there's a lot of benefits of building business credit. There's a lot of people that are looking at your business credit reports and scores. And by the way, they're making all kinds of decisions about you. But let's just look at lenders and credit issuers. Lenders and credit issuers are looking at your business credit reports and scores to make 3 determinations. 1, how much money should you be lent? 2, should you even be approved to begin with or denied? And 3, what rates and terms should you pay? What are the interest rates that you should actually pay on the money that you get? So if you want to get more money at better terms, you really have to establish business credit and have good business credit. So what happens when good business credit goes bad? Well, you got to fix it. And here's the 8 steps to actually be able to do so. By the way, if you're just coming in, give me a shout out in the comments. Tell me your company name, and I'm going to give you a free shout out here that thousands of people are going to see. So it's like free publicity for your company. Pretty cool. If you just give me a shout out in the comments, tell me your company name. Okay, so number 1 step. First of all, you got to get a copy of your business credit reports. Now, you can go to creditsuite.com/monitoring to do this. creditsuite.com/monitoring gets you access to those business credit reports so you can actually see what's on your reports. Now, here's why this is step number 1. Because a lot of people that come to me and say, I need to fix my business credit, don't have damaged business credit at all. What happens is Experian and Equifax will give you failing business credit scores even when you have no credit. So a lot of people will come to me and say, hey, I applied for a credit line. I got denied. The lender says it's because of my business credit quality. I'm freaking out. What do I do? Then we pull their business credit reports and we realize they don't have bad credit. They have no credit. So in the business credit scoring world, you'll be given failing scores just because you have no credit. So the very first step you want to do is see, do you even have anything bad on your profile? Or is the real problem that you have nothing on there and you have bad scores because you have nothing on there? You might go to a lender, get denied because of business credit quality, and then you pull your business credit and see it's empty. You're like, what is that lender talking about? Well, Experian and Equifax probably gave you a failing score because they know your business exists and you don't have any credit, so that's why you're high risk. So that's easy to fix. We add 1 account to our Experian or Equifax reports. It fixes that issue. So you might not have anything that needs to be fixed. You just need to do a little bit of building. The only way we're going to know that is we have to actually pull our business credit reports to see what's actually on there. I will tell you that about 8 or 9 out of 10 times that somebody tells me that they think they have bad business credit, they don't. When we look at their reports, they don't actually have any bad business credit at all. They just don't have any credit. So you want to first of all fix that. Are you somebody that has no credit or are you somebody that has bad credit? Because if you have no credit, we'll talk about the route. And if you have bad credit, we'll talk about the route there as well. By the way, Daryl Lewis, what is up, man? He's a Texas realtor. He is Texan realtor is his tag, I'm going to say. So, Daryl, thanks for coming in for LinkedIn and saying hi, man. I appreciate it. Okay, so first step, you've got to pull the business credit reports. You can go to creditsuite.com/monitoring to do that. I'm not trying to self-promote our monitoring solutions. If you want to go directly to the source, you can go directly to D&B, directly to Experian, and directly to Equifax as well. Okay, number 2, you have to dispute any inaccuracies that you see there. Now, you have to keep in mind, a lot of people try to fix a negative account that shows that you're paying it late. That's not what you want to do. The very first thing you want to do is you want to start at the top of that report, and you want to go down, and you want to look at the public company information to make sure it's all right. Look, a large part of why the credit bureaus decide that you are high risk is because they see your industry as high risk. So if you have a high risk NAICS code, which is the industry that you're in, then you'll be seen as high risk and you'll be denied all over the place. And the credit bureaus will give you failing scores because you're in a high risk industry. So you want to look, is your name correct? Is your address correct? Is your phone number correct? If not, you want to dispute all of that information as well. You want to make sure that there's no public records on there that are false. You want to make sure that your industry NAICS code on there is correct. Any of that is inaccurate, you want to have fixed because it all can not calculate into your score, but affect your ability to get money, okay? And industry risk oftentimes will calculate into your score. Okay, so we have to figure that out. The next thing is we want to look, do we have any days beyond terms? Are we late on any payments? And if so, there's a couple things we want to look at. We don't want to go crazy disputing things that we're late on. We want to keep in mind that the Paydex score, for example, with D&B is really looking at your payments over the last 12 months. So if I have 12 months of on-time payments and one payment that was late 2 years ago, I'm not going to dispute that account. Because if I dispute the account, there's a really good probability the account itself will be completely removed and deleted. I don't want to lose my good history just to be able to remove one bad month that I paid late. So you want to look at, if you do have late payments on there, how far off were you? How late were you? Remember, scores like Paydex, or not necessarily Paydex, but your other credit scores are designed to depict your risk of going 90 days late. If you paid all your bills as agreed and once you went late on by a week, it's not going to exponentially increase the risk that you're going to go 90 days late. It probably won't at all. But if I took an account that had 2 years of good history and 1 month of bad, and I dispute it, there's a good probability that the bureau is going to remove the account altogether from my bureau. They're going to remove it like it never even happened. So now I lost my 2 years of good history to try to remove 1 month of bad. That'll hurt my scores, not help them. So what is it that you need to fix? Depending on how bad a late payment will be, meaning how recent it is and how late you were, and then how many other positive payments you have on that account, will ultimately determine whether you dispute it or not. You should dispute any company information, name, address, phone number, NAICS code that's wrong. It all needs to be disputed. Public records, it all needs to be disputed. But if you have things that are inaccurate or that you don't seem to be accurate because of payment history, you have to really look at, 1, how recent was the late payment? 2, how many on-time payments did you have versus actually payments that you had late? And 3, like overall, how many payments do you have? If you see that you have a lot of good on-time payments, you only went late once, but that account has good positive payment history, I wouldn't dispute it. But if you clearly see that account's a problem, you had it for 6 months and 3 months you were late, and 1 month you were 2 months late, you need to fix that thing. Just keep in mind when you're deciding what accounts to dispute, how recent is the negative and how many negative occurrences of days beyond terms is there per all the positive payments that you paid as agreed. Don't dispute something that has a ton of positive to remove one negative. That's going to hurt your score, not help it. So now we need to dispute the inaccuracies. How do we dispute the inaccuracies? Experian and Equifax allow you to do this through their credit monitoring platforms. Equifax and Experian, you get credit monitoring. You can dispute it right through their credit monitoring platforms. Okay, if we look at Dun & Bradstreet, Dun & Bradstreet has something called your dashboard. And with your dashboard with D&B, you can easily come in, access your information, and dispute anything there that is inaccurate. As a matter of fact, you can get free credit signals from D&B, get your DUNS number free from D&B. It all shows on that dashboard. So you want to take those steps anyways because it's free to get your DUNS and free to get like the basic level of of their credit monitoring. So you want to get both of those, but then you also want to keep in mind that if you have inaccuracies, you dispute it on their dashboard. Equifax, Experian, you dispute it with their monitoring services. Now, if that doesn't work, you can always get your reports and dispute in writing as well. But typically disputing online with the business credit reporting agencies is your best bet. Now, the third thing you want to do is you want to make sure that in the future, you're paying everything on time or early. So if we look at Paydex score, the #1 credit score in the business world, Paydex just simply looks at how you pay your bills on average. So if I have 4 accounts that I paid as agreed and 1 that I didn't, I'm still going to have a good Paydex score. So the key here is that we want to make sure that we're paying our bills on time or early as we can. We don't want to pay a bill before the item we bought shipped. We have to wait till it ships. But once it actually ships, we want to make sure that we're paying that bill on time or early, because that's what calculates into our score. The more of these positive payments we have, the more the positive offsets the negative, and the more negatives we can have and still keep our scores pretty much intact, still be just fine, okay? So pay our bills. We want to make sure we do it on time or early. The more positive accounts we have paid as agreed, the more we offset the mistake we make here and there. The next thing is we can negotiate with creditors. Look, if you're going to be late, then you can easily go to that creditor and work out a plan with them where you are late, but they don't report you late. It's their choice. The law doesn't demand that they report your information to a reporting agency, consumer or commercial. It's their choice. It's done voluntarily. So you need to go to them and work out something. If your payment is due on the 1st of December and you know you can't do it, go to the creditor and say, I can't do this on the 1st. I could do it on the 10th. Is there a way I can get like a one-time exception here where that won't consider me to be late? Then what happens is they can go into their system, update your due date from December 1 to December 10. And then what happens is when you pay it on the 5th, you're not considered to be late. They report you on time to the bureaus because you paid within your updated due date. So negotiate with creditors. If you know you're going to be late, a lot of people have a tendency to run and hide from the creditor. Don't do that. Communicate with the lender. Communicate with the credit issuer. Tell them what's going on. Ask them for help. They'll usually give you help. And then sometimes it costs you nothing. Oftentimes, they'll do this 1, 2, 3 times for free and without charging you anything to make exceptions. And it won't hurt your credit. So make sure you have that communication. 3, or I think I'm on 4. Oh, wait. Enable access camera. All right. Unexpectedly stopped. Okay, so I'm switching my cameras really quick. I am very well aware that my camera just shut off. This is what happens when you're live, people. We have all kinds of technical difficulties, and then I have to say funny things that will then distract from the fact that my camera just changed. Okay, and now you can see that my primary camera just died, which wasn't nice of it. So now I'm switching here to my backup camera, which isn't as nice, but it will work for us, okay? So that being said, first, we have to get a copy of those business credit reports, okay? And again, we can get that at creditsuite.com/monitoring. Second, we need to dispute inaccuracies, public record information, anything about our business, anything to do with late payments, where we have a lot of late payments, not a little, because if we have a lot of positive on account and a little bit of negative, we want to keep it because the positive outweighs the negative. Next, we want to pay those bills on time or early because that helps us have more positive history, which offsets the negative. And then we also want to make sure that we're negotiating with creditors. If we are going to be late, we want to tell them that so then they change our due date and they don't consider us to be late. Now, the next thing is we want to establish positive credit history. I don't care if it's consumer credit or commercial credit. One of the best things you could ever do is you need to establish as much good positive payment history as you can. And the reason for that is that if these scores are looking at an average of how you pay your bills. So if I have 10 accounts, then they're all paid as agreed except for 1. Well, then 10% of my accounts were late. It's not going to have a massive impact on my score. But if I only have 2 accounts and I go late on 1 of them, well, now 50% of my accounts were late, and it's going to have a big impact on the score. So the easiest way to offset negative business credit is to build positive. Build as much positive as possible. Look, I want to tell you a story. I used to own a consumer credit repair company. I'm probably one of the only guys you'll ever hear from that built a successful consumer credit repair company and then sold the thing, right? So I can tell you that a lot of clients would come to us and they'd say, okay, I need my credit fixed. And we would help them remove negative. and we would remove like 30 collections without exaggeration, like 30 collections. We go, look, we deleted 30 accounts. And they would go, well, my score didn't go up. I want a good score. I want a good score. So then we started to let them know, look, you can't have a good score without good credit. Then we started to help them add positive accounts to the credit report. And then just by adding positive, their scores would go up. And they were like, you guys are the best. So we would just delete 30 accounts and they would be unhappy. We would delete no accounts and they would be happy because their scores would go up because they added positive accounts. Here's why I'm telling you this. Good credit requires good history, good accounts. What's more important to fixing your credit is adding positive than it is removing negative. Because the higher number of positive, the more it offsets the lower number of negative, and you win. So you need to make sure that you're establishing as much positive credit as you can. You want to ask lenders that they report to the Business Credit Reporting Agency, and if given a choice, go with the lender that's going to report your payments to the Business Credit Reporting Agencies. You want to get credit cards that report to the Business Credit Reporting Agencies. You want to actively build business credit with the Business Credit Reporting Agencies. And the more of these positive that we build, the more it offsets the little bit of negative that we may have, the mistake we make, the account that we forgot to pay, things to that nature. Next, you want to create a strong business credit profile. We need to make sure that all of our information is up to date all the time. So we need to make sure that we're adding positive accounts, or we're adding high limit accounts, or we're adding loans, or we're adding credit lines and credit cards. We want to make sure we have the right NIAX code that's low risk. We want to make sure that our business name and our address and our phone number, all that stuff is accurate as well. All these things are involved in avoid any kind of public record. All these things are involved with creating a strong business credit profile. And the stronger that credit profile is, the less one late payment even makes a difference. Next, you want to monitor your business credit every single month. You need to do it regularly. Just put something on your calendar. Take 10 minutes once a month to look at your business credit reports and scores. Look, you need to do this because a lot of things will appear on your business credit reports that you didn't know about, you didn't think about. You're getting credit from lenders and credit issuers you think will report when it actually doesn't report. You think you're on time and something actually shows as late. Your business credit reports can adversely affect so many things in your life and you don't even know it because you didn't even realize these things were wrong. So you need to make sure that you're monitoring this every single month. It's super cheap. If you go to creditsuite.com/monitoring, you'll see it's cheap to monitor your reports. And by doing that, you can quickly correct any negative things that may occur and then stay on the positive side so you're able to get a lot of credit. And guys, look, I'm going to be clear. This isn't about credit. We just did a multi-million-dollar deal, literally, without exaggeration. It brings millions of dollars of revenue into our company. One deal, millions of dollars. In order to get this deal done, they went and looked at our Dun & Bradstreet credit report score to make the determination of whether or not we should even qualify to get this deal. And we did, because our D&B credit profile and score is good. So this isn't just about getting loans and credit lines and insurance. It's about so many other opportunities where people are looking at your D&B and Equifax and Experian reports and you don't even know that they are. So make sure that you are monitoring your reports regularly and then taking the rest of the steps we talk about to correct inaccurate information and making sure that those reports are positive, because a lot of lenders, credit issuers, insurance companies, people that are going to assign you contracts, clients, prospects, venture capitalists that want to give you money, people that want to buy your company, they're all behind the scenes looking at your credit reports. All of them are, because your credit reports are publicly accessible. So you want to make sure you're monitoring and keeping up those reports regularly. And lastly, you need to be patient and you need to start early, okay? A lot of people need business credit to get the credit and financing they want to get. But the problem is they wait till they actually need the money to start building business credit. Business credit building takes time. So the best thing you should do is start as soon as you possibly can to start getting some momentum. So when you need loans and credit lines, your business credit's already established and you're fine. And you have to keep in mind that building is a process. It takes a little bit of time. Don't get me wrong. It's way faster than consumer credit. I can establish business credit way faster than with consumer credit. But I cannot be unreasonable in the fact that it does take time to build business credit. So we want to be patient throughout this process as well. Okay, so let's talk about and recap these 8 steps. Number 1, you need to get a copy of your business credit reports. Remember, a lot of people think they have bad business credit because the lender tells them that, but their credit scores are low because they have no credit, not because they have bad credit. You need to know where you stand. Do you have no credit or bad credit? You need to know. You're only going to know if you figure out, if you actually look at those credit reports. You can get those reports as cheap as exist at creditsuite.com/monitoring. 2, you want to dispute inaccuracies. If you have anything on there, public records, company information, NIAX code, days beyond terms and accounts, you want to dispute anything that's harming you that's inaccurate. Remember, keep in mind, if I have an account that has a bunch of positive payment history and a little bit of negative, don't dispute that account. There's a good chance they'll remove the account altogether, which means your positive history goes away, and that can hurt your scores. So judge what you're going to dispute. If I'm going to dispute an account because it's late, well, if I only got one late and a bunch of positive, I'm going to leave it alone because my positive outweighs the negative. It's not hurting me that much. But if I've got an account with 3 months payments and 2 months I'm late, well, then probably going to dispute it. So you make sure that you're disputing those inaccuracies through their online platform or through Dun & Bradstreet's dashboard. Next, pay your bills on time or early. Remember, your main scores with D&B, Equifax, and Experian are based on one factor and one factor alone: how you pay your bills. The earlier you pay your bills, the better. So as soon as an item ships and I have the ability to pay that bill, I always want to pay it as early as possible. If I'm paying every bill early and one comes late, those two even out where I'm paying on time and my scores are still good. So pay everything early and get in the habit of that. That way, if you do have a late payment, it still won't offset the fact that you paid everything else early. Your score still won't be impacted that much. Next, negotiate with creditors. You have to know that if you're going to go late, tell them you're going to be late. See if they'll extend the payment that's due. If they extend the payment due date, well, then you're not even ever considered late. And they'll oftentimes do this if you just ask them. Next, establish positive credit history. You have to remember that your scores, your main business credit scores, are based on how you pay your bills on average. So if we want to have a good score, we need to have a lot of positive to offset the little bit of negative. So we want to always be adding as much positive credit to our business credit reports as we can. That's going to offset mistakes, forgetfulness, and other things that can cause our payments to go late. Next, we want to create a strong business credit profile. Part of this makes sure that all of our information is up to date. Our address, our phone number, our NIAX code, all that stuff is accurate all the time. We also need to make sure that we're adding as many accounts as we can with as high limits as we can. When we want to get loans that we're paying on to report, the lender will report it. We want to use D&B's credit service. They have a credit builder product that will let you take accounts you already have and add them to your business credit reports. That's another good way to create strong credit profiles. And we want to continue to add as much positive credit as we can. That's going to help us here as well. Next, we need to make sure that we're monitoring our credit regularly. All kinds of things can be added to our report that hurt our ability to get money. We need to know about those and fix them when they come up, not when we desperately need money. I don't want to figure out there's a problem in my D&B report when I need money. I want to fix it well before then. That way, we don't have any issues with being able to come in and actually be able to get the money we need when we need it. And last, you've got to be patient. Credit building takes a little bit of time, way faster than consumer credit, but you want to get started as early into this process as you possibly can, because again, that takes into account for the fact that it's going to take a little time. And when you do this, then your credit is established and built for when you actually need it. Look, if you want help along the way, we've got a great guide at creditsuite.com/EIN. This is 100% free. I put a QR code right here. You can scan it or go to creditsuite.com/EIN. This has been downloaded over 1 million times. It literally is the most downloaded guide on business credit building of all time. So go ahead and grab it. It'll map out the steps to build business credit, give you insight on monitoring, tell you the starter vendors to use to build business credit, all the credit you can get there after that. It breaks it down step by step to make it easy for you to successfully build your business credit. So that is it. Look, if you got value from this training, then make sure that you like and subscribe, and then keep your eye out for next training. Every Tuesday and Thursday at 1 o'clock Eastern, we go live. So make sure you follow us here at Credit Suite, because all we talk about on these live streams is how to be able to become a better entrepreneur and to be able to make money and more money, or I should say get money through loans, credit lines, and credit cards.